about, like literally just about. Hey, what's up, everybody?
What up,
the people
family?
that's slowly going pop in here. I got OG.
What up?
I got OG Lee with me.
What up?
I
What up?
appreciate everybody who's gonna tune in soon. And we started off with a nice conversation. Just talking about life and things of that nature. But where do you want to begin?
Wherever you want. First, let me say this. I know we talked about this. Your pops, when I met him, so cool, so gracious, stone face. He was like, "The fuck are y'all doing in my store?" He said it with his eyes, right? He didn't say anything, but he said it with his eyes, right? And then he saw what we was doing, and he was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." And he was laughing a little bit from the shit that we were saying. But I wanted to thank you and your pops for allowing us to come in here and do our thing. And you know, when we did that episode, and we were in Harlem, shout out to Andrew Edgehill. And we came in here and he was completely cool with it. But I will say this, he was still in dad mode too. He was still in dad mode because I heard him. He got the phone rang and he was like, "Sylvester, get your ass in."
Yeah, I remember that.
So I was like, okay.
Yeah, I remember that day. I think
I got state's government now.
I have my mother's keys. I have my mother's house keys.
Yeah.
Because she lost hers. Happy Mother's Day to all of them.
Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. Also, too, man, here's one thing I will say, too, is that a lot of people they misunderstand you on the internet. And that's very easy to do, right? Like we met, you're a good dude. You come from a good family. When we were out here, man, all the love that everybody was showing you, I met aunts, uncles, cousins. It was so much love out here at the time. Like people get on the internet and they get kind of crazy. And your thing is you talk on the internet how you talk to your friends.
Yeah.
Right. And people don't know that about you. So it's easy for them to be like, yo, it's almost, you know, they kind of like get offended and stuff like that. But if they knew you or if they knew where you come from in your family, it would be completely different. Yeah. So that's the one thing that I want to clear up for everybody who, you know, is on the internet and is like a little off-putting, but good dude, man. Very good dude from a good family too.
I think that comes from just being part of a good family, you know, just growing up and like learning various things of that nature, like growing up around different people.
For sure.
Like I like comic books. Like my pops was like a huge comic book fan.
Yeah.
Like huge comic book fans.
Yeah, this is insane. I would have never got this, but this is like a comic book shop almost. Now, do you collect or are you selling or what are you doing?
Nah, I collect them and I read them. I read them on my downtime. Like when I downtime.
Yeah.
I read them. And I like my bro Spades and my bro Sandwich.
I don't know where that we gotta find out where that name came from.
Sandwich?
Yeah, where did he get that name from? He food? He like the Indiana Pacers? He food?
Nah. So Sandwich came from my friend Big B. And one day Sandwich just kept talking. Like he just kept talking. So he like, yo, you always flapping your lettuce. All right, your name's Sandwich, bro.
Oh shit. Okay.
and I just name. Forever just called him that.
That's a good name.
I don't even call him his regular name. But my guy Sandwich and Spades, they work inside like a pawn shop. A pawn shop.
A pawn with an AW. Don't delete the account, YouTube. Be talking about porn like when you take your jewelry when you're on your last dollars and you gotta pawn that. You gotta take that gold herringbone chain that your uncle gave you. Pawn shop.
Oh man. Oh, nice. A pawn shop. Yeah, shout out to my guy John, man. He just texted me again. I go see him tomorrow. But they work in a pawn shop and they have like mad comic books. And he's like, yo, I'll give you mad money for like $50, $60. I'm like, oh, all right, bet. Give me all of them.
Yeah.
So like I usually like read them on my downtime. Mm-hmm. So I don't like being on my phone like that, obviously. I'm trying to stay away from like the social media stuff.
Of course.
Especially like when the Knicks is not playing.
Yeah.
So I can't wait till they get out of the playoffs. So I gotta look at my phone.
Let's hope that they don't get out of the playoffs.
Well, not fast.
Soon. Yeah.
Not fast or early.
You want, but you know what the crazy thing about it is that if I know you're a Jets fan too, just like me. So as soon as the basketball season is over, it's like football season starts, right? Like football season is kind of all year round, but it immediately turns to football. And I'll watch I'm a Yankees fan, so I'll watch baseball, but I can't get off of fucking Twitter, dog. That shit is a part of life, and it's so frustrating sometimes, but that's just the way it is, man.
Yeah, man. I guess yeah, Twitter is like one source of social media content.
Yeah.
I think if Twitter deleted, I think I'll probably still have a voice.
Right.
You just gotta use all social media platforms. And then that's where my first question comes from, like, where do you begin? like where did it start? Because I even had to ask my uncle that question when it comes to like the liquor store and things of that nature. But where do you begin and where did you start like that?
Like my comedy, I started on Twitter before I started comedy. So my Twitter was more so for my craft is I'm IT. So I do network security for a law firm, right? That's like my job. Or my career. So I've been doing IT for 30 years. So I started a YouTube channel teaching people how to do work with networking equipment and stuff like that while I was studying for my CCI. Anyway, so that's the story. That's how I got started on YouTube and started on Twitter. But then once I started comedy in 2015, I was like, all right, I'm going to use Twitter for jokes and stuff like that and try to connect with people and, build an audience. And then that's kind of like where my main page now kind of started, is just talking about the Knicks and talking about the Jets and talking about the Yankees. And, I was like, let me add some comedy to this. And then obviously I did the sketch where I played an angry person who works for a hospital. But yeah, that's kind of how it started, man. Just fucking around and getting down with the community and shit and talking shit to people on the internet. And it became fun, man. Like that's how I got to meet you and so many other people, just through that medium. And I think this shit is pretty incredible. Yeah, but I started comedy in 2015, around that time, yeah.
Do you write or everything is just...
I write. Here's the thing, man, and my shit is I'm funny like in conversation. Like so I have to write, right? I can't get up there and just talk about shit because I don't read comic books. Like I find it interesting for people who read and shit like that. Like I don't read. It sounds weird, but I'm not as smart as a lot of motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of comedians out there who are smart. So I have to write my shit down and practice it and go over. And it takes weeks and months and years to build up a set. And, I'm up to about 25 minutes of material that I think is presentable. But yeah, I have to write everything. Sometimes I'll go up there, like when I'm doing crowd work or just riffing with people. Because I host shows a lot. So it's this, there's people in the audience. I want to talk to people. I want to get the feedback. So I'll talk to people and shit comes up here and there. But yeah, I mostly write all my shit down.
Yeah, all right.
Because it's not. Well, you know what? I will say this. The other day I was on stage and I was like, you know what? I'm not prepared. I'm just going to go up there and try something new and just talk to people and tell them what I'm thinking. But shit did not go well. It did not go well. So I was like, yeah, I don't like this, but you have to go through that. So once you have those times where you're getting up there and it's not going well or people are not fucking with you, you're like, okay, I got to take this serious. I got to prepare for it. I got to make sure that I know what I'm going to say and that it's funny.
There's not like different styles of comedy.
There's so many styles of comedy.
Can you name like 3?
You have observational comedy where people are like, you ever go into a liquor store and see a comic book? You know what I'm saying? That's an observation. Not that it's funny, but it's just an observation. Then you have somebody like Jim Carrey who does physical comedy, or Jim Brewer, right? Where they're making these faces and they're doing these things. And then you have what they consider alternative comedy, where that's a large scene in Brooklyn. So those are like different Yeah, but there's so many styles of comedy. Then you got Corey Holcomb, who's one of my favorite comics. The motherfucker,
Yeah,
he just talks shit. Mike Epps is my like top 3. He's just the funniest motherfucker.
Yeah, he's in my top 3 too.
He's just up there. Just it's like he's talking shit and shooting the shit and making fun of people and making fun of himself and telling stories. There's also storytelling comedians. So there's so many different styles of comedy that people can enjoy. And that's to me, I think that's why you can't say, like, a lot of times people would be like, and I feel like I'm rambling, but a lot of people would be like, oh, he's not funny. And I don't agree with that, because I think there's someone for everyone. You know what I'm saying? It's like, just because you don't like his style doesn't mean that he's not funny. It's just not your type of comedy. Like, find your type of comedy that you like as a fan and be a fan of that. You know what I'm saying? And not like, we can't say the Pacers suck. We can't, because they're in the playoffs at the same spot that we are, right? And their fans might think that they're the greatest thing that ever happened to them. We're just not a fan of that thing. Yep. So I'm just a fan of the Knicks, or people are fans of a certain type of comedy. So I don't think certain comedians are not funny. I just think that there's comedy for everyone.
Your favorite city to do comedy in?
Oh man. Let me see. Recently I went to DC, and that was so hype, man. It was so dope. We had such a good time. The crowds were so live and ready to rock. I think I might have had one of my best sets, or a few of my best sets there. We did North Carolina, Florida. It's like Miami was so hot. The crowds were incredible. Maybe DC, and probably because we're going there this weekend coming up. So I'll say DC. Not like anybody. Shout out to everybody from DC. Not like anybody from DC is watching or going to see this, but yeah, I would say DC.
I definitely got to go to DC. Shouts to Ralph, man. Appreciate you, Ralph, for tuning in. Yeah, Ali, man. I appreciate you for tuning in, man. Appreciate you for tuning in.
Ralph, what's good, man? Bring the GoPro down, bro. Ralph was out here being Geraldo Rivera with his GoPro when we was out here.
Bro, yo, what was the story behind that? I gotta know. Like, how did y'all get that all together behind the scenes?
Oh, so you know what's funny?
So what we talk about is like a video,
sketch.
A sketch they we all did last summer. In 2023, met most of my family, met my dad. But it was a fun time that day.
Yeah.
Well, where did y'all get that idea from?
All right, so we did Andrew Edgehill. Shout out to Andrew. Who he reached out to me on Twitter, and he saw the video that I did of Ralph. Ralph had this video where he was standing, like, I don't even know. It felt like it was the basement, or he had bricks or something. And he was standing. Ralph, you was standing Julius Randle, dog. You was standing Julius Randle. And I parodied that video, and the shit went crazy on Nick's Twitter. And Andrew reached out to me. I think it was based off of that. And he was like, yo, let's do this sketch. I got this idea where you could be you could be a Knicks counselor. And I came up with the name Thomas Jules, which is like, at the time, everybody hated Tom Thibodeau and Julius Randle. So I was like, let me combine those two. That's how that came about. And then he was like, yo, I think it'd be funny if we have Ralph in the video. So that sketch did really well. We submitted it to a film festival. We got, nominated for an award and shit like that. So that was dope. And that's how I met Andrew, and Ralph came through and did that. And so he said, all right, we're going to continue this. Let's do I have this idea. Let's do something in Harlem where we go down and meet Knicks fans and all of that. And he was like, yo, I want to get State in this. Excuse me. So we came down and we shot. He reached out to you, and that's how we all got together. And it came out dope, man. I know people have seen a clip, but there was so much stuff that we did that day. So much recording. Shout out to Coop, who was holding the camera all day.
Oh yeah.
And my man Ishmael, who came through and we did the little sketch in here, as a matter of fact. But yeah, that was dope. So that's how we all got together. And look, man, the power of Twitter, right? Because I didn't know Andrew. Andrew, he lived in DC. He was like, yo, I'm gonna come up and we're gonna do this thing. And now we become cool and shit like that. And I even see his brother every now and again. So that's how we connected. And that's how we got here.
Yeah, that was dope. That was dope. I still remember that day.
That was dope, man. We were in the projects. We were just chilling. Everybody, the tournament was going on, and everybody was out there, man. It was just live. It was a good day.
Lance Stevenson was out there. Was out here. I took a pic with him. I met him. It was a lot going on that day, man. Why the fuck everybody want to fucking talk to me now? Fuck out of here. Sick of that shit.
He had his phone away the whole time. And
the whole time. Y'all motherfuckers had the whole day to text me. The whole day. You motherfuckers want no. Get out of here, man. Well, some dude gonna text me. I don't want to do business. All right, man. Fuck you too. Wow. That's how. Come on. I don't work on your time. Right, I work on my time. Right. You don't know what the fuck is going on in my life. Right.
How about you tune in? Stop texting and tune in.
Motherfucker, he would know. Motherfucker, it's 24 hours in a day, right? That's another thing too. Because I know you got to travel and stuff like that. Me, doing the content creation thing, like there's nights where like I sacrifice a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't see the behind the scenes
stuff. Of course.
The mental grind and things of that nature. What is some of the things that you do in order to like keep yourself mentally sane? Like sometimes I might listen to some jazz music randomly.
Yeah.
Other times I might listen to Jay Dilla instrumentals.
Yeah.
I might.
That's interesting. I might try that.
Yeah, I might listen to who I was listening to the other day, DJ Premier Beats. I was just listening to that, reading the comments.
Right.
Like, what do you do to like help keep yourself like upright?
It's interesting that you say that, man, because there are times where I just gotta delete social media. Like I get into this thing where it's not really a comparison, but it's almost like you feel kind of like you're not doing enough, right? And I'm hard on myself, so you see other people doing things and you're like, fuck, I'm not doing the things that I'm supposed to. I didn't write today, or I didn't meditate today. I try to meditate every day. I'll exercise, just not for aesthetics, but just to feel better. And there are weeks where I'll just delete Instagram, or I'll delete Twitter and all that stuff and just go for a couple of days just so I can get my mental state back in order, man, because it's difficult, man, when you, especially being a creative, you do, like you said, there's so much work that goes into it, and it's, for me, comedy is such a difficult thing. You're getting up there trying to make people you don't even know laugh.
Yes.
Right. And it doesn't always go well. And all the time that you've taken to prepare these jokes, or even if you haven't prepared, that's another mental barrier that I got to get over, that I struggle with. So it's and I just want people to have a good time. I just want to make people laugh. That's the greatest feeling in the world, is making people laugh. So when that doesn't go well, it starts to drain, and I just got to disconnect, man. Don't watch nothing. Don't be on the internet at all. So that's kind of how I decompress a little bit, maybe for a couple of days at a time.
Yeah, I'll take a week off.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. Everybody should.
I'll take a week.
Everybody should.
I'll take a week off. I think it's mandatory. You gotta take a week off.
Take breaks, man. You need it, because you can drive yourself crazy for no reason. And like you said, a lot of people don't see the struggle or the grind or the background or everything that goes to it. They just see the final output, and they're like, oh, he makes it look easy, or he's not really doing anything, where that couldn't be further from the truth. Because you have a job, you have a business that you help run, right? And you do the merch thing. So it's all of those things. People don't see any of that. They just see somebody on Twitter, and that's, it's so interesting. And I think that's why the Knicks watch parties are so important. Like I pulled up the Blarneys after game 2 in the first round, and I got to see some people who, I fuck with on Twitter, and meet some other people, some new people that I haven't met before. But I think that's important, because you speak to these people, but it's good to get them to know them on a personal level. So, there's no there might not be any animosity. They'll know, more about you. And then,
Yeah.
and we have this Knicks in common, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like,
it's funny, man, because after you meet somebody in person, the respect level on Twitter is way higher.
It changes, yeah, for sure.
So like a lot of people I met on Knicks Twitter, I met them at watch parties. So now you notice, like, I don't get in the arguments like that.
Yeah, you can't.
On my page.
Because they understand you now. They understand that, this is how he is. This is who he is. This is how he talks. And there's no malice behind it. It's just, at the end of the day, it's just words. Yeah. You know what I mean? And people can't take offense to the words once they know the person behind it. It's a lot harder to do.
What is the darkest time that you had that comedy like allowed you to pull through? Because a couple of years ago when I first like moved in my own spot, I was going through depression because I'm like, what the like I'm here, it's like jail. So then I started doing the podcast. I'm like, this is I can do this.
This is your release.
Yeah. So when we had a dark time, we were like, yo man, I gotta make something laugh.
When I started comedy, I was going through a divorce. I was $55,000 in debt. They repoed my car. All my money was going to my ex, my check. So I was ass naked, broke, no car, walking. My check was being taken from me. So when I started comedy, that was kind of like the only thing that kept me kind of like up and busy, because that was a dark time for me. And I knew that I was going to come out of it, but it was just really, really difficult. Really, really difficult time for me. So I'm glad I had comedy to fall back on, because I don't know where I would have been. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My mother was telling me about the time she threw the pot in my father's head.
Been there, dog. Been there. What happened though? What was they arguing about?
He did something.
Of course he did. Of course he did. It don't really be like, we don't really be thinking sometimes. You know what I'm saying? You gotta forgive us, ladies. You know, every now and again you need to throw a pot at our head so we can get it.
Yeah, I don't know what he does, man. He crazy. Shout out to my pops, man. With that said, now you came with a gift.
I did, man, and yo, I regifted. I told you before, I regifted. I got that from a Jets, from a Jets thing that I attended, and I was like, I don't want to show up empty-handed to another podcast. I know State's a Jets fan. Let me just bring him something. Let me just bring him something, and even if he hangs it on the wall or something like that, or even if he regifts it, I'm like, I don't want to show up empty-handed, man. But I'm glad you was a Jets fan, because I was scrambling. I was like, what can I bring this? Normally you go somewhere, you bring somebody like a drink, but he owns a liquor store. What am I going to bring him? You know what I mean?
So before disclosure, I'm a Giants fan.
No shit. All right, I hold on. I'm gonna take that back, because I got a backup. I had a backup plan just in case. I got a Jets hat for you. I mean a Giants. I got a Giants hat for you. Boom! I knew it.
It's just that the Giants is like, why? You ever watch that movie Tremors?
No.
With the little worms in the desert? You gotta watch that movie. Right. Oh my God, you gotta watch that movie. Yeah, watching the Giants. What can I get? Shirt back. No,
I got the Giants. I got the Giants hat in the car.
Watching the Giants, it's like comparing it to somebody in quicksand.
Mm-hmm.
I know the end game with them. Daniel Jones sucks. So since he sucks and we're in a quarterback league, it's whatever. But the Jets got Aaron Rodgers. You got a nice defense. You got a nice offense. How the hell you became a Jets fan? Because being a Jets fan and being a Knicks fan, who both haven't won since the Civil Rights era.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, we're also Yankee fans, right? So
okay.
Yeah, so we got that in common. So here's the thing. My dad is a Giants fan, but he's like one of them dudes that likes all New York teams. So I kind of grew up rooting for all New York teams. But the Jets came on at 1:00, and the Giants would always come on at 4:00. right? So I would sit and watch the Jets. And when I was a kid, I was like, all right, I'm done. My attention span was only for the Jets. And once the 4 o'clock games came on, I would check in and everything like that. But yeah, the Giants would normally play at 4 o'clock, Jets at 1. So that's kind of how I became the Jets fan. And, they were good. They had good teams. They had Mark Gastineau. They had, the sack exchange. It was exciting. I liked the colors. And I was like, yeah, this is the team that I'm rocking with. So that's the story of how I became a Jets fan. But my dad is a Giants fan, so I watch the Giants. And here's what I will tell you. The regime now did not pick Daniel Jones, right? So you can't really blame them for what's happening, right? They gave him the new contract, but they didn't have anything else. So they kind of were forced. I feel like they were forced.
Else. You could have did something else.
Like?
You could have lost games and got
nobody. Here's why that's not a good. And I feel like the Jets, Giants, and Knicks are kind of like on the same trajectory because they were bad for a while, and now you can see signs of the Jets, obviously, but the Giants making their come up, right? They could have, if they would have won a couple of those games last year, it could have been completely different. Right, they had their starting quarterback go down. They had their backup quarterback go down. Not a lot of teams can win with that, right? But guys are playing for their contract, and guys want to win. No guy is on the sideline like, nah, I don't want to win. Those guys are playing hard. They want to win. They're trying to play for the next paycheck. So it's easy for us to sit here and be like, nah, y'all got to lose. Yeah. But the reality is that these guys are playing for their lives, essentially. So I get it. It would make sense. You would want them to be bad, but in football, it could go either way, man. It could go either way. One play here, there. They could be, 9-7 or 9-8 or whatever, or 10-7, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy to say y'all should lose, but it's the thing that I like about the Giants is that they're correcting their mistakes, right? They picked offensive line, which they hadn't had in so long.
Yeah.
They picked these offensive line guys who didn't do well, who were projected to be, all pros or, around for 10 years. And things happen, man. But you got to reverse field. And that's what I feel like the Giants did. They're on the right track, man. So don't worry about it.
The Giants, in the words of Randy Savage, nothing means nothing.
You want people to prove, you want them to prove it. Show me something. Prove it to me.
Because Dave Jones, it's like, my cousin is a diehard Ravens fan. He had me watching the Ravens growing up. Mm-hmm. So, like, he got me into football, like, early 2000s and all that, Ray Lewis and all of that. But, like, the Giants, I've seen these guys win 2 Super Bowls. So, how do you, like, keep your faith in the Jets, like, year in and year out? Because, like, is it management? Is it just the ego thing?
Nah, but that's what being a fan is, right? Win or lose, you're gonna be there for the team, and you have new excitement every year, and you just want to see your team do well. Like when the Jets lose, it ruins my fucking day. Like I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do anything. So that's just what part of fandom is, man. Like you want them to do well, you expect them to do well, and that's why it hurts so bad when they don't do well, man. Like we've been in Knicks fans forever. But you see the good things that they're doing. You can see the moves that they make that, this is a competent organization. They're not making dumb trades. They're making the smart plays. They're getting players to buy in. They hired the right coach. So they're doing all of these things. The Jets made a mistake. Obviously, we didn't know it at the time, but they made a mistake drafting Zach Wilson. Oof. But you take 2 years and you try to correct that mistake by getting Aaron Rodgers. He gets hurt. Nothing you can do about it. That's not the management's fault. But they didn't rest on their laurels and be like, all right, we just going to go with Zach Wilson. They made changes, and that's what you like to see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. As long as management reflects like the fan base, like you're showing
of course,
you want to win.
Of course.
So that's the great thing I seen. Like I'm watching across in New York sports with all of these management teams. Finally.
Because you don't have the owner step. If you want to go to a team where your owner not all up in the videos, but no, when you have James Dolan, right? He was stepping in, and no, he was kind of acting like a fan, and we don't want that. But he's been out of the he's been out of it since the Mills era. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you want to see. He hired competent people to take over, and we saw the moves that they made in the front office. It was like Brock Aller, Leon Rose, all of these guys. They hired Walt Parent. You know what I'm saying? So we had faith in those guys before but we were like, oh, this guy made this. And then when they come to the Knicks, we like, okay, they putting the pieces together. We see what they're doing. Then they get guys who play hard, who play like New Yorkers, and this is the outcome. This is what you get. You know, just a bunch of guys who are scrappy, who are going to play hard to the end, and who are going to represent New York. And that's all we could ask for. But you're right. You're seeing that with the Jets, with the Giants. Obviously, the Rangers are winning. You know, so if I'm sure there's a soccer team out there, we're not seeing with the Mets. Sorry, Mets fans. We're not seeing it with the Mets yet. But we're seeing it with the Yankees, right? So, I mean, the Yankees have been the Yankees for so long, and they annoy me too. But yeah, it's the organization is doing the right things.
Who is the best owner in New York sports right now? Like, if you had to pick one owner of a New York sports professional team, who is the best owner right now? And me being 34 and seeing New York sports across the board, I might have to go with James Dolan. and the only reason why I might have to go with James Dolan, it's like two big reasons why. The first reason, he's hired the most minorities in professional sports since the year 2000.
No doubt.
That's the first reason. The second reason, I never had an issue with James Dolan when it comes to spending his money.
No doubt.
New York Knicks.
No doubt.
And out of those two reasons right there, I say he's the best. He's the best. I mean, trust a black man for 17 years. For
sure. Had them all up and down the organization. I'm gonna say this right now. Maybe, and you know, I don't really get into the ownership because it's like they don't play. They obviously they want to win, right? They're hiring these people. These people aren't. Maybe they're not making the right moves, but I would say, who's the owner of the New York Liberty? Because having Sabrina Ionescu and Breonna Stewart on the same team, and they look like perennial winners. So they put that team together, and they're going to be winning. Didn't they go to the championship last year?
They did.
So
first season, she went to the New York Liberty.
Yeah, so I think maybe that team is on an upward trajectory. But yeah, I'm going to say, you know, and no disrespect to my boy Woody Johnson, but I'm going to say I'll probably have to say James Dolan, but definitely the owner of the Liberty. And I hope it's not Josiah, because
I hope I'm not wrong, but it says Rob Castle.
Okay. All right. Shout out to Rob Castle, because I just saw a Liberty jersey on a couple of dudes. I was out in Jersey, and there was a couple of dudes walking around just with Liberty jerseys on, just regular dudes. And I was like, oh, that's kind of crazy. So they're doing something right. But having two of the best players in the league has something to do with it too.
Yeah, it's crazy that you're speaking about the New York Liberty. I'm definitely going to get into them this season.
Yeah, for sure.
I actually wrote a Substack article on Breonna Stewart.
No shit.
I actually wrote about her. I didn't know like she's a New York legend.
No shit.
Her high school resume is one of the best ever coming out of New York. Her college resume, you got 4 championships.
Yeah, nice.
And your NBA resume, you got 2 chips already.
Yeah.
Then you come to
New York. Yeah.
And your first season in New York, you go to the finals.
She had an MVP season, didn't she?
Yes.
I think she was MVP of the league, or I know it was being talked about it. I would have been to more Liberty games had they stayed in the Garden. Obviously, they're in Brooklyn now, but I definitely want to. And I'm not saying it just to say it, but I think it's interesting. And now I kind of want to see. Now that Caitlin Clark is in the league, I'm like, no, I want to see Sabrina Ionescu bust her ass. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that, because now there's all this talk about this girl. No, I think we got the best, one of the best players in the league right now. Now let's see what Sabrina and Breonna can do against Indiana, and it'll be nice to have an Indiana-New York matchup again.
Oh yeah,
in the WNBA.
Oh man, I can't wait. Man, I can't wait. It speaking of the Knicks in Indiana, the New York Knicks. I love New York Knicks.
I was so tight yesterday, though. Son, I was tight.
As expected. Like
Yo.
Carlisle complaint for like 2 days.
I know, and then they get the calls. It was the same thing as we saw in the first series, right? Nick Nurse complains, yeah, and then Embiid goes on this crazy run and gets all these calls. Now, it wasn't as bad or as blatant as the Sixers series, but it was pretty bad. And I don't even care, man, because we still, even with all that, we still had a chance to win. So that's the shit that makes me upset. I was upset with Jalen Brunson. I feel like, and I love him. I love him, so there's not a knock on him at all. But I feel like every game in the fourth quarter, he has a big turnover, and that shit it's annoying. It's number one because I notice it, and now I'm noticing it even more. Like everybody has turnovers, everybody has bad shot selection and stuff like that. But I notice it even more with him because he's the guy. You know, he's the guy now. Just like when Julius Randle was around, he would spin out of control and lose the ball and get double teamed. We used to be upset with that because, you know, it was in critical parts of the game. So, you know, it's annoying, but we still had a chance to win that game. And that's the frustrating part is not like now we gave these guys a chance. They got a little confidence now and they think they can win. But Farnsworth Bentley went off last night. And they pressing 94 feet and you still almost take an L. Like that's got to be devastating. Your man goes off for like 35 or whatever, and they still almost taking an L. And what bothers me too about that is that during the in-season tournament, everybody was calling them world beaters and said they were contenders and champions. They could be champions of the league, and that shit had me tight. I'm like, why are y'all talking? It's middle of the season, man. Why y'all talking about this team like that? So I'm glad the Knicks are busting their ass, but I was tight that they lost last night, man.
Yo, and it's funny that you brought that up. What is the difference between the Knicks culture back then as opposed to what it is now? Because you see, the media, they don't like us. I don't know why. Well, I kind of do know why they don't like us. A lot of the people that's at ESPN and all of these networks, they used to work for James Dolan. Fired a lot of them. A lot of them work at ESPN now. So a lot of them try to
interesting take. I didn't know that.
They try to make the media try to like flip it. And that's why we don't get a lot of positive media coverage.
Also, too, on top of that, there's this disconnect with them coming in, like media coming into the locker room, and some people he may not allow, and some people he may have kicked out of you know, not giving them passes and stuff like that. So I get that. And also too, there's so many Knicks fans that it generates views and clicks for them. So it's kind of easy for them. It's easy because there's no repercussions, right? Like Paul Pierce can, even if he doesn't believe it, he can get out there and be like, I don't think the Knicks are that good. You know, and we know he's a perennial hater, but it's not that he hates the Knicks because why would he have a beef with the Knicks? But he's just saying that so that he could give you. Same with Draymond Green, so that people can go back and forth and it generates views for them and it's a money grab for them. So I get it, but I try not to entertain that shit.
Yeah, I wish we had a nice Charles Oakley on the Knicks that socked one of these dudes upside.
Exactly. That would be so nice, man. That would be so nice. Dolan apologized to Oakley so we could get him back. Oh, he did?
Yeah. So once again, like Dolan's been on, so I don't know what kind of coke he's sniffing.
Wow, bro.
That's making him feel good.
That's the pure shit.
Pure.
Bro, just playing his guitar, sniffing that ultra white. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, yeah, whatever, man. Just apologize, dog.
It was reported recently that he reached out to Oakley.
Wow.
And said, yo, come to the Garden. Let's make amends. Oakley declined. Put out an article, made it about himself. Once again, regular black folk shit. Like, come on, bro.
Come on, man.
Come on.
You know what? I don't. Here's the problem with Oakley is that you could be like, it's James Dolan's fault all you want, but look at the shit that he said about Ewing and how disrespectful he's been to Pat Ewing. So you know where there's smoke, there's fire. Oakley is on some shit, and I don't know what it is. Maybe he really wants an apology from Ewing or something. I don't know what it is, but you could tell it's not the ownership. It's not Dolan. It's Oakley on his bullshit.
So
I didn't even know he apologized though. That's dope.
He did. He
That's
definitely
dope.
did recently. That's why. Like when Stephen A. and Stephen A. brought up James Dolan, like Kendrick Perkins wasn't really on that time.
Yeah.
With him.
Yeah.
And then that's why I put up the post yesterday. Like Knicks fans, we thanking Leon Rose. Thank James Dolan, motherfucker.
For sure.
He's very quiet. I guess Phil Jackson told him.
Yeah, you gotta shut the fuck up and let me do my thing. Yeah. For sure. Even though Phil fucked up, at least, he let Phil do his thing. You know what I'm saying? And that was like the genesis of what we're seeing now, him just staying out of the way, which you love to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that goes back to the original point. Like, how did you become a Knicks fan? Back then.
I'm from New York. That's how you become a Knicks. Every real New Yorker is a Knicks fan. If you're a Nets fan, you from out of state somewhere and you just happen to live in New York. You're not from New York. Stop it. But yeah, just being from New York, man, and the games. I used to watch the games on Channel 9. That's how old I am, though. I remember Pat Cummings, Marvin Webster, Ewing when he started, Bernard King, like all of these guys Trent Tucker, Rory Sparrow. Trent Tucker and Rory Sparrow were my favorite players.
Trent Tucker?
Yes.
Who the hell is Trent Tucker?
Trent Tucker was a 3-point specialist. Nice. Trent Tucker's the reason why they changed the shot clock or the clock rule, because now you see it in milliseconds. It used to just be seconds, but they changed it because it's almost, I call it the Trent Tucker rule. Don't quote me on that, but look it up. That's the reason. Trent Tucker's the reason why they changed, because he hit a shot and they said it was afterwards, so they changed it to milliseconds. So yeah, and also in 1997 they changed the defensive rules, which is kind of why we're seeing defenses so soft now. But they changed the rules because they felt like the Knicks were too physical, so they stopped the physicality on. So you can't just haul off and punch somebody in the face anymore because of the early 90s Knicks.
Oh man!
So that's how long I've been a Knicks fan, man, forever. And you just born into it. When you're from New York, it's just Knicks all day. That's all you see. There's no reason to be a fan of another team.
Who better, Brunson or Ewing?
Ewing did it for longer. I didn't like Patrick Ewing growing up. I didn't like him because I felt like he was, he had the finger roll that he missed against Indy.
Oh,
and he was guaranteeing wins and not. But I have such an No, here's the real reason. Here's the real reason why I didn't like Ewing, and I almost forgot about this. It was late 80s. Yeah, it had to be late 80s because I was a kid. And my boy makes fun of me all the time for this because I told the story to him. We were outside after the game. The Knicks had just played the Bulls. I was a kid, and I asked Patrick Ewing for an autograph, and that motherfucker turned me down. And he turned me down disrespectfully too. I don't remember what he said, but it was almost like it felt like, I'm gonna tell you what it felt like. It felt like, fuck out of here, little man. You know what I'm saying? That's what it felt like. Him telling me he denied me for an autograph. So from that point on, I was like, I don't really like this dude. But then it made it worse when he did the free throw and he was guaranteeing all these wins. But Patrick Ewing is so nice. Like if you think of, like if I can compare him to somebody without the flopping, it'll be like Joel Embiid. But he was a warrior. Like he was tough. He would beat knees wrapped up in bandages in ice on the bench. And that was his younger years. You know what I'm saying? He was just a warrior, man. And I all respect the dude because he carried the Knicks for so long. Is Jalen Brunson nice? Yeah, but he's only been here 2 years. Let him carry the franchise for 10 years and then we'll see. And I hope he doesn't suffer the same fate that Ewing did, because Ewing he missed Bernard King because Bernard King was later in life. Then he got traded to the Bullets, or then he went to the Bullets. And then Ewing had to play with Gerald Wilkins, who was finger rolling air balls. That was like my least favorite player growing up. But these guys weren't. He didn't have anybody like who could complement him. Like even Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. That's like you know two great. You have two All NBA players.
Yeah.
Ewing didn't have anything close to that. So he carried the team for so long, man. So I got to say Ewing.
I mean, shit. When your team best player making $3 million, and your salary cap on the $10 million,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. How much can you do? But it wasn't like it is now. It's not like it is now, and guys didn't want to team up. Although I hate to hear the stories about how Jordan almost became a Knick. But yeah, it definitely wasn't like, and obviously we didn't have social media or anything like that. So different times, man, different times. But you were proud to be a Knicks fan, kind of like we are now, just proud, man, because they played so hard and they represented the city so well.
Oh, so now speaking on the Knicks currently, did you think like they was going to be where they at
Yes.
now, like a couple years ago?
Yes.
How? Like
because progression, right? Like you see in that year 2021 where they get almighty fourth seed year. Almighty fourth seed year.
Season of basketball I ever witnessed in my life.
But listen, look at the way they played and what Tom Thibodeau was able to get out of guys like, I know you hated Alfred Payton, but look what they were able to get out of him. Look what they were able to get out of Reggie Bullock, right? These guys played up above what they normally play at, right? So they bought in. So you can see that growth, right? You're like, okay, this could be something. And then they started the next year. And I said this the other day, if they didn't start 2-9, if they didn't have that 2-9 season or that 2-9 February, they would have been over 500 and they would have been in the playoffs that year too. So you could see the building blocks, and then comes the next season where they have. So each year they've gotten better, right? And they've added pieces, and they're not giving up they're not giving out dumb contracts. They're not making stupid trades. So you can see the progression. They were in the second. We thought they could have won last year.
Yeah, they were supposed to.
They were supposed to win.
Want to put up civil rights numbers,
right.
You know,
but I think he bought in. I give him kudos because he bought in and he was okay with Jalen Brunson, taking the lead, right? So we got to give him credit for that. And also, too, I think what's missing is that with DiVincenzo's emergence, Randall would have been even more okay with, because he had this special connection, I felt like, with Reggie Bullock that year. Like, I think he was starting to develop that with Devo as well. So, having those three guys playing at the same time at such a high level, of course you can see it because they're making gradual steps. So, yeah, Eastern Conference Finals this year, who knows where they go from there. But as long as they keep on the trajectory, they're going to be good for a long time.
When it comes to, like, culture and, like, the Knicks culture, where did it start? Did it start with Randall or did it start with Brunson? Because Randall been here years prior, before Brunson and Tom Thibodeau.
I think it started when Tom Thibodeau came in, because you have an identity. And once you have an identity and players are starting to buy in and they're doing the work, that's where it starts. But it really starts in the front office, making good hires. You can see the team going in the right place. Making the right moves, then you hire the right coach. But Julius Randle buying, because they could have kept Bobby Portis, right? Or they could have kept who was the other forward that they signed? Marcus Morris, right? They could have kept any one of those guys. They kept Julius Randle. He played his ass off. He bought in. He wanted a coach who gave him some accountability, even though Tom Thibodeau, he don't hold. But once they had Jalen Brunson come in, now he's okay. I'm going to take a backseat. But these guys signing team-friendly deals that allows them to sign other players, like you just said. Patrick Ewing had $3 million eating up 30% of the cap space. These guys aren't doing that. So that's the culture, right? It's everybody buying and having a big, having the vision to be like, all right, I'm going to take this team-friendly deal. I'm going to take a de-escalating deal where at the end of my contract, I'm going to be making $3 million less than I am right now, so that I can see this thing through. They're making it happen, man. They're making it happen. So, yeah, I love it. The culture started with when they hired the front office guys, but then Tom Thibodeau.
How did you feel when? Because I know you seen a lot of trades go down in the Knicks in your lifetime.
Oh Jesus.
You watched Mark Jackson get traded.
Yeah. Rod Strickland.
Season
Everybody hated that.
You watch Ewing get traded. Stephon Marbury get traded.
Yeah, that was my least. Stephon Marbury is one of my favorite players ever. Um, I was lucky to get a chance to meet him. He's just, I mean, he's a Brooklyn legend, right? I'm not from Brooklyn, but you just knew about him very early on, and it was just like watching him grow. And then he finally comes to the Knicks, and you're like, I can't believe this is happening as a Knicks fan, like a New York player. Which is why when Melo came, the same thing happened. But anyway, go ahead and ask the question. I'm sorry. Yeah, I've seen so many people get traded.
And like when you watched RJ and quickly those guys get traded, then you watch Grimes get traded, and then you see where Knicks management, where the direction they went into, which was like all of the vets. What did that tell you about the New York Knicks and their franchise, like moving forward? Like how serious was they starting to get? Because I'm not used to trades like that.
Good trades, you mean? I know you loved RJ Barrett, but you realize, I'm sure you realize now that you love the Knicks more than any one player, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing, and I will root for any player that plays for the Knicks. They become mine as soon as they're on the Knicks. As soon as they're off the Knicks, I'm like, see ya. So I get what the Knicks were doing. Like, think about it. I personally didn't even think RJ Barrett was the best player coming out of Duke. I thought he was the third best player coming out of Duke. And I wanted him to succeed because his success meant that, the team was successful. But imagine the Knicks took a guy 25th and they were able to flip him and RJ Barrett and you got to give up talent to get talent, to flip him for who I didn't know this at the time. I'm going to admit, I don't really watch anybody else other than the Knicks, right? So OG Anunoby, like they're all good players to me, right? Everybody's in the NBA but this dude is a generational defensive, and to my untrained eye, I can see his impact on the court. That's how good this dude is defensively. So I think it was a phenomenal trade, and it showed me what I had known all along, that the Knicks kind of know what they're doing now, right? Because they got a guy who fits, who's not going to need the ball in his hands, who's going to be, who's going to change games. 26-5 since when he's in the lineup. You can't doubt that. So I like the fact that the Knicks chose these guys, developed them, because how long have we been asking for them to develop players? Yeah. Develop them enough to be able to trade them and get this piece that they needed so badly. They're making all the right moves. However, I will say this. I thought Quickly at one point could have been as good or better than Maxey.
Yeah, he'll get to that point. He just need a star role.
Right. If he would have played the same amount, like Quickly in OKC probably could have been Maxey, right? Because he would have got the chance to start right away. He would have been able to play and make all his mistakes early without the media glaring down on him, or there's no need to win now, so to speak. So I think he's going to do fine in Toronto, and I'm happy that these guys get a chance, because you do have an affinity for these guys when they play for your team, right? So when you see them go somewhere else, you're like, oh shit, I want them to pop off. Just not against my team, except for Obi. Fuck Obi. Just this series. Do all that dunking and all that shit on everybody else. Don't do that shit.
So now we in the playoffs. 47 win season, 50 win season. We had a 41 season a couple of years ago. Now it's 3 years out of the past 4. Obviously, the culture is changing. Last year, we lost in the second round to the Miami Heat. We all know what happened. Jalen Brunson in Game 6 was there by himself. Mm-hmm. This year, we're watching Jalen Brunson on probably like the best individual playoff run that I've ever seen for a New York Knicks player.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're also watching a team who's down 3 players who's done for the season. A team that's played multiple star fives this year. A team that has been going through adversity a lot this season.
Yeah.
Now we're at this point. Game 4, Indiana, Sunday, Mother's Day. What's your confidence going into the playoffs, even with the Randall injury? Did you think we could get to the Eastern Conference Finals or Finals? And how you feeling about the injuries? Will it affect us in any way?
Shit. Yeah, man. I mean, look, not only did you lose 3 starters, but you also lost your scoring option off the bench in Bogdanovich, who could hit a big 3 at any moment, who can open up the floor for Jalen Brunson, right? Who can help that spell either Josh Hart or OG when he was healthy. You know, you lose scoring, but you lose another body. And these motherfuckers is playing hard, but they're playing. Like I saw Dante was at the line the other day. He was like, fuck, I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? So these guys are tired, but they have no choice. They have to play because there's really nobody else. Who you going to bring in? Daquan Jeffries?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Nah, you can't do that. You can't put that guy in a position in this part of the season and expect him to, you know, maybe he might steal a couple of minutes, but it's not going to be a couple of good minutes. But you can't put him in that position, not for his career and not for his mental health, at least. So these guys got to play. What is my feeling is that after watching yesterday, I'm like, oh shit, they got a chance. My thing was just get OG back in game 5 or game 6.
Not with his injury. His injury take at least 2 weeks. It take at least 2 to 3 weeks.
The motherfucker better get some Neosporin on that shit or something. Get some I don't know. I don't know what that motherfucker need, but he needs something. He need Jobu or something, man. Get that motherfucker a shot or something. I don't know, but the way they played yesterday, and again, watching, I call him Farnsworth because I can't. Halliburton. Watching Halliburton go off. He went off yesterday, but that's such a quiet 35-point game. You know what I mean? Because he was almost non-existent in the fourth quarter, like I felt like yesterday. But and I think Miles Turner having a big game really helped them out too. And they needed a Hail Mary at the end of the game for them to win. So that gave me a little bit more confidence where I was like, oh no, they can still win this series, even with these guys out. But I mean, is Dante gonna have another 38-point game? Is, you know, Deuce hasn't been playing spectacularly well. Can we get another big 13 points from Alec Burks without that motherfucker chucking? You know what I'm saying? Like, all of these things have to go right in order for them to win this series. But I think just get back to game 5, game 6, get OG healthy, and then we move from there.
Yeah, I think so too. I think as long as OG gets healthy, I think we're going to win this series. But in the case that we don't,
I don't even want to think about that shit, honestly, though.
Fuck it, I gotta ask you.
No, I mean it's a possibility, but I just,
where would that rank on your, like, yo, come on, what the hell?
I can't be mad because Julius Randle freak accident.
Yes.
Mitchell Robinson got hurt, you know, purposely hurt by Joel Embiid.
Dirty scumbag.
And then OG getting hurt. It's nobody's fault, man. These things just happen, and they were still playing hard to the end. Like, they play hard every game. They're giving it their all. And yeah, you know, these guys may make mistakes, but it's a pressure situation. They're playing a ton of minutes. It's intense. I can't be mad. It's just you chalk it up to the injuries and be like, they gave it their all, you know? So you can't be mad at anybody who never quits.
Right.
And who gives their all every game, every possession. you can't be mad at anybody.
Well, I could be mad at Tibbs, man, because he's the reason why Randall got hurt.
You think so?
Yes.
Here's the thing, though. You think him playing? Because there's a few games this year where teams were up by 20 and they lost. I mean, the Clippers have done it.
Yeah.
All right. Let me give you this example. Would you rather have all the talent in the world like the Clippers? To me, that's a bigger failure than anything the Knicks can do. Bigger failure than what happened to the Knicks last year, because you got 4 guys standing around watching one guy dribble the air out of the ball. And that is way more frustrating than anything I've ever seen from the Knicks.
Yeah. I can't play with people like that.
Yeah. So I mean, the Knicks should, if they lose, I can't be mad because he's putting his best 5 out there, and you got to do it to the end of the game every game. Every game is important. Right? You can see it because we could have been the 3 seed. We could now be facing the Boston Celtics, right? Yeah. And I'm not saying which road is easier, but you took on the challenge. We want to be as good as we can possibly be every game of the season so that we get the best seed. We get home court advantage. That's why every game is important. That's why I understand why he plays these guys, late in games, because you can't give up any game because you want to have home court advantage throughout the playoffs.
Tibbs is a maniac.
He is. But the players love him.
I would too. Listen, I could play for Tibbs. And you gonna play me 40 minutes because I'm doing something that I love to do.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to come out the game.
Exactly. And the players who don't like it, they don't take it seriously enough. And it's good because we don't want guys like that. We want guys who are gonna put it all on the line, man. That's what New York is. We want everybody to put everything on the line, whatever they got, and go hard the whole time. And that's what we getting.
I hope we're going to get a lot of Knick players in the infirmary.
For sure. Son, you ain't got nothing at the job that you could cook up for OG or something like that?
I got
some
gauze, some ice packs.
Send OG a care pack.
Oh, man, yo. I don't know, man. I think OG is a simple case of I don't think he take good care of his body.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think he take good care of his body, like, at all.
At this level?
Yeah, I think he's horrific taking care of his body. Because when you look at a guy like Josh Hart, I look at this guy, I'm like, yeah,
he's in shape.
I could tell he's in shape.
He's in great shape. He's in great, like, his cardio is up. But him and Jalen both went vegan. I don't know if Dante did it too, but that might have something to do with it. And maybe they convince OG to do the same.
They need to, because I'm sick of Paper Man.
Yeah, it's hard to watch, but the results, that's the chance you got to take, though, man. 26-5, those numbers don't lie, man.
Nah, they don't.
Those numbers do not lie, and you can see his impact on the game. If he was there yesterday, all that. You switch him on Halliburton, or you give him a couple of minutes on Miles. Miles went off yesterday too. It was only like 21, but he still went off. You hold him to a little bit under that, and that's the difference in the game. So certain possessions they wouldn't get away with. Maybe they get a couple more steals, and we're talking the Knicks up 3-0.
You know what yesterday's game reminded me of? You ever watch Life?
Yeah, Eddie Murphy movie. Yeah,
so remember, part was like, yo, I want my cornbread. He was talking mad shit.
Yeah.
So when he was fighting the big dude,
yeah,
the Eddie Murphy reminded me of the Pacers. Like that's what yesterday's game reminded me of.
That's
like,
funny.
Y'all put another good fight.
Yeah, that's cute, man. That's cute.
I wasn't really too bad at yesterday's game because. I'm at the point where whatever happens, right? We only got 3 players. We don't even got enough talent in order to compete. So if they do get to the Eastern Conference Finals, we'll leave it up to God again.
Right.
Because I think the Celtics are mentally soft.
Right. I mean, they got their asses spanked by the Cavs the other day.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. I still want that motherfucker. That motherfucker dirty, yo. That motherfucker. Spider, that motherfucker dirty, yo. Like, and people are like, yo, what about the too small, but I don't care. We got OG and we got Mitch back there to cover it. And the Knicks' defensive rotations are so fucking good, man. They're so good in half court defense and picking up guys, and they're just not leaving guys wide open for threes anymore like they were early in the season. And I think you can't go for long stretches without scoring. Like yesterday, they were up 9, then the Pacers go on an 11-1 run, right? If you have a guy like Donovan Mitchell, that shit does not happen. That shit does not happen. And he's not going to take away from what Jalen is doing. He won't take away from what Randall is doing. And I understand that DiVincenzo has been amazing, but just imagine Devo and Josh Hart coming off the bench, because there was a time when we were blowing teams out because of our bench. And I think if you have a dude like Spider out there, what's the chat? What they saying in the chat? But I think if you have a dude like Spider out there, there's no way you lose a 9-point lead.
So I've been watching Cleveland all playoffs.
I can't watch them.
I only watch it for Donovan because I want to really see, like, if two small guards could work. I'm just really curious.
Well, they have it in him and Garland. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, but Garland is not Brunson.
Exactly. My point exactly. He's nowhere near Brunson. Correct.
Nowhere near Brunson. And I'm like, okay, Donovan could attack here. He could attack here. Okay, OG, I know he don't need the basketball. I know he can shoot the three properly.
Correct.
The only sore throwing out somebody's behind is Randall. But I think Randall
would buy in.
Back. I think he'll buy in.
He'll buy in for sure. Because he's going to get his. Because now you're talking about staggering the lineups, right? They all may start the first quarter or the first quarter and a half. They can get busy. But now you have two other guys that can pick up the slack, or you send Brunson to the bench early, right? Second quarter, so that he can be fresh for the fourth quarter. And now Donovan goes off. And Julius is going to get his thing because he can play the two-man game with Donovan and they can do their thing, right? And he could be a bully down low. So just that alone, and it's not building a super team, it's just having another guy who can score consistently and be efficient. We've seen too many times where the Knicks just go long stretches without scoring, and I don't think if you have a guy like Donovan Mitchell, you don't have that.
Yeah, you want to know what's funny? I picked Orlando to beat Cleveland too. And I thought the tall wings would be a problem.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought the defense was. Orlando's defense was really good when they faced the Knicks. So I was like, oh, this is the same thing they can do to the Cavs, because the Cavs really only have. We knew that the Cavs were soft inside. I'm a little disappointed in Evan Mobley, but we knew that they were kind of soft. And Jared Allen has been hurt, I guess, but we knew that they were softer inside. So that might not have been a problem. And Banchero's really, really good.
Yeah.
And I thought it's his first playoff series, but, I thought they were going to be a problem because of the way they played against the Knicks. And I didn't think that, it went 7 games, right? So, and then they obviously, the Cavs being the more experienced team and obviously having a superstar in Donovan Mitchell was like, okay, that got them over the hump. But they played a great series, man. For their first time getting to the playoffs in a while, I think they played great. Really young guys.
Yo, Donovan in New York will make Dolan a billionaire.
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
For sure.
Like, the amount of media coverage. Sheesh. I would love that, Donovan. So shout out to Ralph. Shout out to the chat too. Appreciate y'all. Lee, what do you feel about Devin Booker?
Ralph, what's good, kid? I don't really watch. Here's the one thing that I do notice about Devin Booker is that I saw him complaining about being double teamed in pickup, and that was a turnoff for me.
Me too.
So, and I don't watch enough Devin Booker games to know whether or not he would be a good fit. He's a bigger guard. I don't know if he plays defense. He can score the basketball, that we know for sure. We know he was Leon Rose's client. So I'm going to go and say that I trust Leon Rose's decision-making
Yeah, me too.
on that aspect. But as a fan, I know what I see in Donovan Mitchell, and my boy's been telling me this since Louisville. He's like, yo, Donovan Mitchell's a problem. And I was like, fuck out of here. I don't want to hear all that. But after watching him, I'm like, no, small. And seeing that he wants, that's the biggest thing, is that he wants to play for the Knicks. That for me was because we want guys like that. That's what I loved about RJ, is that he wanted to play for the Knicks. You know, he was proud that Obi cried because he got drafted by the Knicks. Those are the types of guys that I want to see play for the Knicks.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to follow him. That's why I never liked Kevin Durant.
KD's so dirty though.
He is, but I'm good. Not on the Knicks.
Yeah, no. I mean, at this point, nah. Maybe, you know, when he was and Alex B. Shout out to Alex B. He said, you know, he didn't want, after Durant got hurt, he didn't want him in New York. But that motherfucker's nice, like offensively. That's the one dude who I could say, to me, because Melo's like one of the best offensive. He has one of the best offensive bags I've ever seen. But KD is like right there and might even be, I don't want to say better, but just as good as Melo offensively.
Offensively, I think Melo's a better post player.
Yes.
I think he's stronger.
Yes.
I think Melo has better handle.
I
think Melo's better from the mid range. Yeah, that's about it. I think KD got that. KD got that.
Yeah, efficient. KD can score efficiently, but from all levels, right? He can score from all levels. He can shoot over anybody. That motherfucker can put the ball in the basket, man. And he don't need to dribble the air out of the ball to score.
No. That's
the other thing that I enjoy about watching KD, man. That motherfucker was dirty, man. Before, I'm talking pre-Golden State KD. He was fucking, I mean, look, those guys went to the finals and they faced the Heat. Unfortunately, it didn't work for them, but them boys were dirty, man.
Yeah. KD is such.
I know it's after the Golden State thing, you kind of like, and then going to Brooklyn and taking an easy route. But bro, he don't. All he want to do is hoop. He been saying that forever. He don't care. He likes ball movement. He likes, you know, set plays. He likes the movement of basketball. Like, I think he would have been good maybe in the Phil Jackson type of system where you got player movement, ball movement. Everybody knows what they're doing. He's just a basketball purist, and we don't really understand. I don't really understand that. Like. But he said it. He said, I don't really like the fanfare, nothing. I just want to hoop. So I respect him for that.
I respect him for not coming to New York. New York, you can't just want to be about hoop, chick.
Yeah, he don't really want to. He don't really care about talking. He just want to hoop and watch other good hoopers. That's all he care about, man.
Well, kudos to him, man. Shout out to him, man. Kudos to KD, man. It's just like Brunson. That's a New York Knick,
right
there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's scruffy. Yeah. I don't like handsome motherfuckers on the Knicks.
No doubt.
I make that be known. That's why I want Devin Booker. He's just too handsome. He's too pretty. You like when you're too well.
Ain't got a problem with red bones. Let it be known.
when you're too well groomed.
You worried
worried about the women.
You worried about
not worried
the
about
look.
hoops.
Right.
Yeah,
you worried about the look. You're not worried about
hoopers. You see KD?
KD, yeah.
LeBron,
he don't give a fuck. All he wants
Jordan, all these ugly motherfuckers.
Yeah. No doubt. Focus on hooping, dog. Focus on getting buckets and being an assassin. That's it.
But you could do other things. I just think like I could look at a person instantly. Yeah.
Nah, he ain't gonna work. He not built for it.
Like Cam Reddish.
Yeah,
I wanted him to work out.
I really did. That was my guy.
I looked at Cam. I said he too cool for school.
Yeah. I mean, but he just make it look easy because that's what he's, you know. That's what, hopefully. Look, Jalen was 26 when he got here. Julius Randle was 26 when he got here.
No, Randle was 24.
Was he?
Yeah, Randle was young.
All right, but I think these guys have. You sure? You might want to check that.
No, he's 24.
Okay, because I think you got to give these guys time, man. Like we get these guys out here, and it's like there's very few guys. There's some guys that we've never heard of, right? That just out the gate they're nice, but then there's some guys who blossom late in their career. become really, really good ball players. But not everybody's gonna be, 20 and 10 right out the gate, man. Sometimes it takes time, and especially if you leave college early. He could have stayed in college 2 more years and then come out, and he could have been the best college basketball player Duke has ever had. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But these guys need time to develop and get involved in the game. And also situation helps, right? Going to the right situation. Again, Quickly was a backup. He could have started on a lot of teams. Who knows where his career would be if he would already had a $100 million contract and he played for somebody else,
Sure. Shouts to Quickly, man, and RJ, man. Once he
Do you watch Toronto game?
I watch all NBA.
Nah, don't say it. I know you be checking like, yo, is RJ playing today? No, you know what? You said this to me when we were out here filming the last time. You explained your love for RJ. You were like, and you kind of just hinted to it just now. Bro, all he wants to do is play ball. He not with the bullshit. He gonna be available. He gonna come in. He gonna work. He may not be the most talented. He may not put up the best numbers, but he is here. He wants to play ball and he wants to be a New York Knick. And I felt that because that's what it takes, right? You don't want no bullshit. You just want dudes that play hard and that want to be with the New York Knicks. So I respected. I looked at it, RJ, a little bit differently after that. Like, this motherfucker can't jump his way out of a paper bag, but no, he's available and he hoops, man. And that's all. And he has that, man. He has the mind. He doesn't have the skill set. He has the mindset, right? He's trying to attack and do what he can to help his team win. You can't be mad at that.
I don't want to hear about a Knick player's OnlyFans endeavors.
Correct. I don't care how many fucking Legos you built, dog. Stop wearing purses to the game, Miles Turner. I'm talking to you, dog. I don't want that on my team. I want dudes in black hoodies. I want you to wear black Airs every day, all day. Stop it with this pretty shit, dog. This shit is wild annoying. Stop it, man.
Real, like the culture. That, and you can tell, like, I was looking at the Indiana players, go to the bus after the game, and you see the Knicks players, they go to the bus after the game. It's two totally different kinds.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
You can look at it, and you can tell.
That's why I'm like, how are we losing to this shit, dog? Why is we losing to these motherfuckers, man? They just gonna go shower, put on their fucking punk ass drip. I hate that shit. I hate the way y'all dress. I'm judging your hoop skills by the way you dress. I'm shallow like that.
You ever been to Indiana?
I have. I went to Indiana very early. I have family in Indiana, and my cousin actually texted me yesterday. She was like, "I'm sorry, cuz, but we won." I was like, "I love you, but I'm gonna block you." So, but yeah, I have been to Indiana. I've been to Indiana a few times. Cool city. I like it. Clean, middle of nowhere. But yeah, fuck that place. Fuck that place. I hope the Pacers bus gets robbed. I don't know who out here, but lace it when the motherfuckers come out there, lace them up and take everything. Take all them ugly ass clothes and all them fucking purses off that bus. Make sure they get robbed, dog. No.
Oh. So last question, and I robbed the Indiana bus. But anybody. Matter of fact, advice. Because we both know the Knicks gonna punch Indiana in the mouth and whatnot. What is your advice to people who like wants to be a comedian or wants to do anything where you gotta talk in front of people?
Yeah,
like it's like 223 people in here watching right now.
Oh, what's up? That's what's up, man. I appreciate y'all. That's dope.
Appreciate y'all watching. But like me, I try to play basketball, right? Mm-hmm. My uncle put me in gauchos in the Bronx. Mm-hmm. I couldn't play basketball in front of like bad people.
Really?
Like that. Yeah.
It's a different feeling. But what was the fear though? What was the fear? Not that the people were out there, but
I didn't want to get my ass busted.
Right. But once you know that, right? And
Yeah.
once you go out there and you like, oh, I'm not getting my ass busted, it becomes a little bit easier. But you won't know until you get out there, right? Like the biggest people's biggest fear is public speaking, right? But once you do it and you realize you're not gonna die from it, you're like, okay, this I can do this. It becomes a little bit easier. So if you're thinking about doing comedy, go to an open mic, just do that shit, man. I will say this: we don't need more motherfuckers in the game. Let's start there. But no, whatever type of public speaking you want to do, or even if you want to do comedy, just do it. It's going to be rough, but once you overcome that, you can overcome a whole lot of other things, right? So you try something new, you lose your fear. Now you become empowered. You're like, okay, I can do this thing. Now what else can I do? Right. And you start to stretch the limits of what it is that you think that you thought you couldn't do. And now you're able to do it. You're accomplishing your goals or doing whatever it is that you want to do one step at a time. No matter, I'm 50 years old, dog. No matter how old you are, no matter how, you think you might not fit in, just fucking do it. Because at the end of the day, nobody cares. And you only have something to prove to yourself. And that's it.
Yo, thank you, man. Appreciate
I
that.
appreciate you, kid.
Man, that was
you.
nice. You gotta get advice from the OG. You always gotta get advice.
I'm proud of you, man, because you're doing this and you're standing. I know y'all kids like to say standing on business, but you stand on what it is that you believe in, and you have enough confidence to go through, the back and forth and all that shit. And I don't really see too much of it, but and that's why I said I know you, and I know you're a good dude. You come from a good family, so you being who you are and being proud and being loud don't change.
No, I won't.
Don't change, because I seen the love that people have for you in real time. You know what I'm saying? And that's all that matters, though. That's all that matters. So keep being you. I'm proud of you.
Yo, OG, man. Thank you, man. Thank you, man. That means a lot, man. OG is one of the people who definitely met my pops while he was alive. Like this right now, this means a lot, man. I'm glad that a lot of you guys tuned in. 235. You motherfuckers always come in late night. Shit like a goddamn club.
They got work. They got people hitting them up on the text, man. Yo, I appreciate y'all, man. Shout out to everybody on here, man. If I don't follow you on Twitter, make sure you hit me up, man, so I can follow you back and we can talk shit about the Knicks, man. I love the Knicks and I love the Knicks Twitter community and all that shit, man. So let's go Knicks, man. And I'm gonna get you your Giants hat.
I'm a Giants hat. Yeah, I'm a Giants fan, OG, man.
I kind of thought that. I was like, but I remember you, maybe it's something you said about Aaron Rodgers, but now I'm like, I remember the Daniel Jones sucks tweets. That's what I do remember.
I never seen more blind faith in somebody. Like, he might be the modern day Jim Jones. Like I've never seen more blind faith.
I will say this
in a quarterback than Daniel Jones. I don't know his believers, his followers. He's really terrible. Like, he's really bad.
Did he have a great offensive line? And I'm not defending him. I'm just context. Did he have a great offensive line?
No, but
neither did Eli Manning.
But Eli Manning won the championship.
Two.
In year 3, though.
Yeah, but the team was already building.
So whose fault is that? That's Eli fault or that's management fault?
It's management fault. And that's what I'm saying about now, is that the management has changed. He's gotten better. I let me tell you this. I would, as a Jets fan, I would love to have Daniel Jones as my quarterback after Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Because he can throw the ball.
No, he can't.
He can throw the ball. Who was he throwing it to? Who's the Giants receivers?
Matter of fact.
Who's the Giants receivers?
You know what?
Shepard is always hurt, unfortunately for him.
Mm-hmm.
You got who's the kid? Not Slauson. What's the kid's name?
All his receivers would be rated under 80 overall. Man,
you know who his best receiver was? Wandale. Wandale was his best receiver, and he was even hurt. And when Wandale came back, the team looked completely different. I was at that Philly game last year when they beat the brakes off of Philly, and Wandale was going crazy. But he didn't have anybody to throw to.
I can't with this. I don't know.
I don't give him. I'm not saying he's good. I'm not saying he's great, but you can't grade him because he doesn't have what he needs.
Danny Jones. So when you look at quarterbacks, the way I look at quarterbacks, nobody makes you. You make everybody else, right? So Peyton Manning would have been great without Marvin Harrison. Like
he would not have been as great. But did Peyton Manning have enough time to throw?
He did, but he didn't. Like he was getting beat up too.
Ooh, I don't know about that. Also, it's a different game because Peyton Manning was able to call his own shots. He was a little bit more cerebral. That was his game, right?
Yes.
Daniel Jones didn't have that luxury. But you need weapons, man. You need weapons. You need guys who can make plays. Also, the defense wasn't great. Daniel Jones was he was being touted as one of the best quarterbacks, runners of the football as a quarterback. That's his specialty, right?
Yes. I think the Giants defense is young. I think we have one of the best linebackers in the NFL last season. One of the tackle leaders, actually.
Yes.
We got a nice cornerback.
Okereke is great. Lawrence is great.
Yes, I like the Thibodeau kid. He took about a year or so because QB pressure. I don't give a damn about your QB pressure.
Right.
How many sacks did he get? Right. He's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
We just signed a guy that's obviously I can't think of none of these guys' names right now because I've been so Nick centric.
Yeah.
But we definitely signed somebody on the defensive side this offseason, so I think we'll be better. But
you guys got Brian Burns,
thank you, from the Panthers.
Yes, who is phenomenal. Going to pair well with Okereke and Thibodeau on the other side, and I think you guys. Jason Pinnock is a ball hawk. He came from the Jets. He was pretty good last year. He should probably take another step this year. What I like about the team is that they never gave up. They played hard all the way through, and that's the New York way. That's how you know a coach hasn't lost a team is when the guys are going to give their all, no matter where. But these guys are playing for their next contract too. But I think you get Daniel Jones a line and some guys to throw to, which is what they did. They got Neighbors, they got Wandale, and they got who's the other guy, Jalen Hyatt, who's the deep threat. Now you can stretch the field. You can stretch the field. You got a guy who can catch him traffic, and then you got your gimmick guy who can, who gets open at will and who gets yards after the catch. Give him that. Give him this year. See what he does. If he doesn't do well, then you can just get rid of him, and that's kind of like the plan. They don't have to. They're not stuck with his contract, and then they have another year. They can find another quarterback.
Yeah, I got one more question. I got one more question because now it just struck my mind. You think the halfback position is like the worst position to play in like professional sports, or across all professional sports,
because you're used. All they do is use you for your talent, right? They'll run the ball if they have the offense for it. They'll run the ball, and then after 3 years, if you're not producing the same, they'll get rid of you, and you'll be on a rookie contract still. It's much more difficult to get that next contract as a halfback, and I don't know how or when that started, because the game changed. I guess when it became a passing league, but if you can block and catch the ball out of the backfield, you're better off. But just pure runners, it's not good for them anymore. It's so wild.
Yeah, you won't get a Jamal Lewis no more.
I think it was. I think the Giants picked the best player in the draft. It wasn't the best pick, but he was the best player, and that's kind of what you do. You go best player available, but they could have waited it out on Saquon. I thought he was going to be super special, but it's just didn't happen there. But you can't fault him for that because he was the best player in the draft. Didn't turn out to be that way, but at the time it was like, yeah, he's a special player.
Gotta go quarterback, yeah. You got a top 6 pick, you gotta go quarterback. You gotta pick Lamar Jackson there.
Yeah.
Now, I was high on Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of meth Bill Polian was doing.
Yeah.
Pulling the hat back.
Yeah.
You watch.
I'll tell you what that is, kid. Years of. I'm old enough to remember where there was only one black quarterback in the league.
Which quarterback was it?
I mean,
Campbell?
it could have been Warren Moon. It could have been at Randall Cunningham. You know, where it wasn't a thing, right? Where these guys were coming out of college and changing their sports. Charlie Ward won the Heisman and was like, nobody's going to put me at quarterback. I only want to play quarterback. I guess I'll play basketball.
Damn. I didn't know that.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Because they didn't think we were smart enough to play quarterback, right? They were just like, oh, his Wonderlic scores are too low. Right? So that's where that thought process comes from. Oh, he can't do this at this level. They're judging what they think the player might do and not the man himself. So yeah, Lamar Jackson might have been the right pick, but that's why some guys don't get picked that high.
Oh man, you got football, no fun league.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's continue doing this. Yeah. Oh, G, what's up, man? How you doing, man?
Podcast and all that. What's up?